Hi, friends. Welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting. The network of growth and transformation presents SOS for Leaders, where your host, Tawana Wilson, will be sharing leadership and personal growth strategies. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to SOS for Leaders. I am your host, Tawana Wilson. A little bit about myself. I am the owner and executive coach and trainer for Trendy Elite Coaching and Consulting Services, where I train leaders how to level up their skills, stand out, get promoted, and in turn, get paid. And so in today's podcast, it will be a two-part podcast where we will focus on being more productive. The first part of this podcast, we will talk about habits that allow you to be more productive. And then the second part, we will talk about strategies that you can use to be more productive. And what we know about being productive is that when you need to be productive, it allows you to do things in the most efficient way possible. It's really about using those techniques and systems and routines to keep you focused and taking action. One of my favorite quotes about being productive is by Tim Ferriss, and it says, focus on being productive instead of being busy. And so how many times do we have it where every day it's like we're on a hamster's wheel, just being busy? And then by the end of the day, we look at everything that we've accomplished or not, and we realize that we were busy and not necessarily productive. I was doing some research when I thought about this topic, and I came across this study by Voucher Cloud that I thought was interesting. And what it said is that in an 8-hour workday, the average employee is only productive for 2 hours and 53 minutes. Can you believe that? Only 2 hours and 53 minutes out of an 8 or 10 hour shift. Now, how would your employer feel about that if they really sat down and knew how productive that you were? That is only 36% of the time. So, which means the majority of the time that you are at work, you are not productive, or the time could be better spent. And so what kind of habits do we need to have to be more productive? Today, we'll discuss 6 habits that will be beneficial in making your day more productive instead of trying to accomplish everything in a single day. The first habit would be make a to-do list. Make a to-do list so that you have a plan of attack with each day. What is it on your list that you want to accomplish? So what are those 3 to 5 key things that you need to get done today? I am a list person. I know everybody is not a list person, but that is what makes me feel more productive is creating that list. And I'm old school. I like to do mine on paper. Of course, there's apps that you can use to keep you productive, but you have to do what is best for you. The only thing that I would say about some of the apps is that, especially when they're on your phone, is that it allows you to get distracted, especially if you have notifications that's popping up on your phone. You got social media that's popping up on your phone, text messages or telephone calls. And all of those are distractions from getting the things that you need to get done. Have you ever had it happen where you were busy, you were just say working out at the gym, you're exercising and you have your phone for the music and then a text message pop up. Now you're focused on the text message, or an email pops up. Now you're focused on the email and you forgot about putting all of your energy and focus into the first thing that you were doing, which was exercising. So you have to pick a method that works for you, which, if it's your phone, awesome. Maybe a tip could be to turn off those notifications. If you're old school like me and like your Post-it pad where you can write down your to-do items, that's great as well. If you use your computer and put sticky notes on there are applications for that inside of your computer that you can use that as well. The second habit would be to track the time that you are spending so you can understand where you're spending your time during the day. So I have a helpful worksheet that I have, and it has all of the hours of the day mapped out on that worksheet. And what it does is I can write down, so for a single day, I can write down certain tasks that I'm doing. It allows me to know how much time I'm spending on different tasks and if that task is a priority. So if I have on there and I'm looking at an 8-hour day or 24-hour day, and by the time I add in 6 to 8 hours of sleeping time, and you have your getting dressed time, and then if you look at the core time that you have, outside of working your primary job, if you have a side hustle or working your job, and then the time you have spending with your family, you may really only have a few hours to do whatever it is that you want to get done, whether that's personal development, whether that's working in your business, whether that's going to school. And you want to be able to track to see how you're spending time. So if you know that the time that you have available during the day is the first 2 hours of the morning, let's say 6 to 8 a.m., and then the next time you would get is maybe lunchtime, 12 to 1 or 12 to 2 or 12 to 12:30, depending on your schedule. And then you don't get another kind of time, open time, until 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m., then it would be helpful to know that, so that every day during these times I have 6 hours or 2 hours or 3 hours to write my dissertation or to work on my book or to work on my next course. And so you want to keep track of those things that you're doing. And if you run a business and you are getting help in your business, maybe you have a VA, a virtual assistant, then you need to know how long it takes for you to do certain tasks before you can even give those tasks to somebody else, to know how much time that it will take, to do your graphics or send out emails or, clean out your email box or whatever the case may be. So track your time to help you understand your work habits and the time of day that you're able to complete those tasks. Delegate, delegate, delegate. When there's a time that you can delegate, and this is habit number 3, we should delegate. Sometimes as leaders, we try and do everything ourselves. And when we try to do everything ourselves and we know we have a limited amount of time, what happens? What happens is that we don't get it done, right? We have to be able to trust our teams to help us complete the tasks that we have on hand. We have to be able to delegate parts of projects. We have to be able to delegate certain items, because as leaders, you can't know it all, do it all, be it all. That's just not an effective leader anyway, to be trying to play all the parts on the team. No superstar or great player has been able to make it to a Super Bowl, an NBA championship by doing it all on their own. Even Michael Jordan had to have help. And so you have to have a team that's able to help, but they need to be delegated too, so that they're able to help you be able to do that. And so that was number 3, habit number 3, be able to delegate. I know it's going to be tough at first and it's not going to feel comfortable at first, but try delegating. I will guarantee you it will definitely make your life easier and more pleasant if you trust and delegate. Figure out what your peak hours are. So everybody kind of works at a different pace. You might be a morning person and you work best in the morning. Other people might be night owls and work best when everybody is in bed, when they've had time to come home and get family dinner and spend quality time and children's schoolwork completed, and then maybe to get focused. Maybe people wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and are able to get things done. You need to figure out what works for you. What is your optimum time where you're at your best, where you're focused, where you're ready to get things done? especially if you're working on a book or if you're working on a thesis or dissertation and you need to be able to think, or even with just prayer and meditation, sometimes you need to figure out what is that best time for you to really be able to connect and be focused. And so figuring out what your peak hours are. Once you figure out what your peak hours are, you're going to be able to see a huge difference. For me, for example, I know when I think about my peak hours and I think about when my mind and my body is ready to just roll in full effect, it's the morning time. I am not one, once the evening starts and I've had the day, I've worked all day and I've come home and I'm spending quality time with my family, I start to relax and I am not gung-ho or fully focused at that time. So my best bet for fitness or exercise or really to be thinking about my day or things that I need to get done or strategy is first thing in the morning. And I think that time works better for me because I'm fresh and my distractions aren't as high. So nobody's calling me. I like to be at the gym, for example, at 5 a.m. in the morning. Nobody's calling me at that time to go to a happy hour or to meet up for dinner or to, just do something else that may be more appealing than going and being on a treadmill, for example. And so it's just, for me, it has been my time to focus and get the things that I need to get done. But everybody has their own flow of what works better. But you definitely have to figure that out because it'll allow you to be more strategic, more focused, and more productive once you figure out what is your optimum peak time. Decide on one task and then do it. So, figure out what that one task is as you are working through your to-do list for the day. Then figure out, if you have 3 or 4 items on your to-do list, how are you going to prioritize those 3 or 4 items? And then once you prioritize those, focus on that one task. So don't try to multitask and do other things, switching between 2 tasks, sending an email here, posting on social media here, trying to read a book here, and then trying to, work on another project here. Because what happens is you just get tired. You get tired trying to do all of those things. And then you'll find you end up either not doing your best at any of those tasks, or you didn't get done the task within itself because now you are trying to multitask and do too much. And now you've not accomplished what you needed to accomplish. So those are habits that I think will allow you to be more productive as you go throughout your day. It will lessen your chance for procrastination because you're more strategic. And so to recap on those items, make yourself a to-do list. You want to track your time and how you spend your work habits. So what are you spending time doing? So you want to make sure that you fully understand how you're spending your time. You want to delegate when you can, so that will free you up and give you more time to focus on another task. And that gives somebody else an opportunity to develop their skills in that particular project. You also want to figure out what your peak hours are. So are you a morning bird? Are you a night owl? What is your peak time so that you are ready to rock and roll and be productive and strategic during those times? Decide on one task, complete one task at a time, and not try to multitask and do a bunch of different tasks, because what happens is you are not really accomplishing much of anything. So hopefully you find that those habits are helpful. Those tips are helpful for you to be more productive. Remember, it takes about 21 days to form a habit. So if you get in the habit and have an awareness of when you're more productive, how you're spending your time, what works for you, if you're going to use technology, how to leverage it so that it's not a distraction, then you will be more productive and you will get the things accomplished that you desire to get accomplished. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of SOS for Leaders. I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of SOS for Leaders, where Tawana shared nuggets of wisdom that you can use to win in life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and connect on LinkedIn. And remember, the secrets of success in your life resides inside of you. When you know what your strengths are, you can utilize them to live an impactful and influential life.